Recent UFC fight announcements, there have been plenty of them, including some of them that you've heard of for sure, because there are some big ones in this video. Let's go through all of them recently, starting with the first fight announcement. Duda Santana, the woman that looks like Israel Adesanya, is out of her fight versus Vanessa Melo at UFC Oklahoma City. No one gives a flying fuck, to be honest with you. Vanessa Melo is from the fucking Contender Series. Good job. Why even tell us? Keep that shit to yourself, UFC. Pisses me off sometimes. Next up, big fight. Eryk Anders versus Krzysztof Jotko. Now we're fucking talking. I love this fight. This is an amazing one happening at UFC Portland, which is an amazing card so far. I don't know if you guys have seen UFC Portland, but that's the card that has Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris as the headliner, and it is only becoming more and more stacked as the weeks go on. Luque versus Randy Brown, Esparza versus Waterson, Connolly is on the card, Nico Price, Muslim Salikov, now Eryk Anders versus Krzysztof Jotko. You've got yourself a done deal of a card. Amazing. I love the card. UFC Portland's going to be a big one. Looking forward to it. Eryk Anders on a 2-fight win streak at middleweight over some big names. Not some big names. Vinicius Moreira and Gerald Meerschaert. But Gerald Meerschaert's no slouch. Even though I thought Meerschaert won the fight, they gave it to Anders. It was a close fight anyway. I don't mind. Good fight. Good job for Anders. And then you've got Krzysztof Jotko, who's been out of the game for a little while. I don't think he's fought since the main event of UFC 240 against Marc-Andre Barriault. Yes, that was on the main event, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. It was that bad of a card. And then before that, he beat Alan Amadovsky, it says it here. But I don't know when the Andre Barriault fight was. I think it was on the main card of 240. I seem to remember it for that reason. But that's a good fight. Jotko versus Eryk Anders. I feel like Anders can get the jump here because Jotko's been a little bit inactive, to be honest with you. And I like Anders' activity. I like Anders' youth in the sport. I know Jotko's also... He's 21-4. He's not taking too many L's. But the L's that he have taken have been KOs to Brad Tavares. And if Brad Tavares is KOing you stiff, there's some problems. I think Eryk Anders has a very good chance. I wouldn't mind picking on him, and even if he was the underdog. I think he would be a good underdog to pick. Eryk Anders is a beast. He's getting better and better every time we see him. When he came in, he was an athlete with big punches and big power. Now he seems to be putting things together a little bit more. Except when he fights Khalil Roundtree. But yeah, Eryk Anders is good. Anders versus Jotko, great. They're also doing Carl Roberson versus Mahmoud Muradov, which I'm glad that they're doing. They're doing Marvin Vettori versus Darren Stewart. They're doing Brendan Allen versus Tom Breeze. They're doing Puna Soriano versus someone as well. They're doing Kevin Holland versus Jack Phillips. Jack Marshman. Great fights all around in the middleweight division. I love every single one of them, and I'm looking forward to orgasming on the scene, to be honest with you, because these are going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. And the winner of Jotko versus Anders is going to be in a very good position, probably looking to take on Antonio Carlos Jr. or even Tavares, if it just so happens to be Eryk Anders. Who knows? But I think that's a great fight. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the next fight that we have announced. UFC Portland's so stacked. Jesus Christ. UFC 251 is in June. It might be in Australia. I believe this is the one that's going to be in Australia. And they've added Valentina Shevchenko versus Joanne Calderwood to the card. Very interesting. Very interesting. I believe that the main event's 100% going to be Holloway versus Volkanovski. They wouldn't do any other main event in Australia other than that one. So this is not going to be the best of cards, but I could think of some fights that would be entertaining to have on there. Much like a Stephen Wonderboy versus Michael Chiesa could also be on that card. When they don't have good main events, you have to make the rest of the card jam-packed. And it's the only way to recover. Because let's face it, Shevchenko and Volkanovski aren't the most popular champions in the UFC right now. But who knows? It'll be a good fight card, I'm sure. Great fight. Don't understand it, to be honest with you. I don't like the fact that they're giving it to Calderwood. Obviously, I'm going to pick Valentina Shevchenko here. They're making a mistake with what they're doing with Shevchenko. They're making her prey on an underdeveloped division rather than giving the division time to pick itself a winner. Because right now, in the women's strawweight division or the flyweight division, who's in the ranks? Joanne Calderwood's number 3. I get it, man. I literally get it. But, like, have her fight Jessica Ai in the meantime. Like, this should already have been booked. We should already be looking at Joanne Calderwood versus Jessica Ai in a couple of weeks from now. They're just not active enough, so they're never going to be developed enough to beat Shevchenko. It's not possible. She's going to keep picking them off when they're not even big enough to pose any kind of threat or be assumed to pose any kind of threat because we haven't seen them win any good fights. I know Calderwood's from Scotland and I should be rooting for her. She's going to lose. It's Shevchenko. It's just rape. It's literal rape. So she's going to lose, unfortunately. Moving on. with another card, but UFC 251. Good that we have an announcement. Very cool. We have Rafael Pessoa versus Alexander Romanov. Alexander Romanov looks exactly like Nathaniel Wood, but just morbidly obese. But exactly like Nathaniel Wood, and I reckon he could be a star. But again, heavyweight bout, UFC Lincoln, Nebraska. Great card in Nebraska with Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira as a headliner. Good one for the prelims. Cool heavyweights. I don't mind heavyweight fights. I mean, the health of the heavyweight division is the health of the sport at times. It seems to be that way in boxing, but it doesn't seem to be that way in MMA. But they're trying to really push the heavyweight division with Tafa, Juan Adams recently, and then you're seeing Ben Sassoli also get pushed up to the main card. Now we've got this one, Tom Aspinall's a new introduction as well. Cyril Gaines making his way up the rankings, is getting a shot against a ranked opponent in Shamil Abdurakhimov. Yep, Shamil Abdurakhimov is Cyril Gaines' next opponent. But that's a great fight. Cool, heavyweights. Let's move on to the ones we're really interested in. And the only one I'm making this video for. Chris Weidman versus Jack Hermansson. It's a cool fight, man. It's a really good fight. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't understand Weidman's brain. I really don't. But then again, I don't even think Weidman understands his brain with all that CTE going around. No offense, Weidman. I love you. Cool guy. Well, I can't even say that because I've just literally verbally abused him about brain damage. But he's a cool guy. Jack Hermansson! Thank you, Philadelphia! I love Jack Hermansson, man. Great voice. I think Hermansson's got him, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I never like it when guys go up and then come back down in weight. I feel like it's even worse for their body. You know, Anthony Pettis is one of the guys who had a shock sort of adjustment. Max Holloway had trouble coming back down to 145 pounds when he tried to do it at 155 not too long before. It's just like, I don't know. I don't get Chris Weidman's moves. He could have easier fights, very easier. But I feel like what he's doing, he's just gambling. He went up top to like a heavyweight, could have had an easier fight. He was offered Shogun Rua, turned it down because he wanted Dominic Reyes. I understand it. He wants title shots. It's good to know that that's where Chris Weidman's mind is right now. Coming back for title shots. However, this is different. Jack Hermansson's different. He's young. He hasn't got the miles that you have on the clock. And he beat Jacare. And he beat David Branch. And he made it look easy against David Branch. I just feel like, even though he lost to the Jared Cannonier fight, he even looked good there. He was winning that fight on the feet. Did some good grappling exchanges. Managed to get Jared Cannonier down. But Jared Cannonier, so strong in that first round, was able to get back up. Jared Cannonier landed one punch in that fight against Jack Hermansson. You know? Perfectly timed punch. Jack Hermansson ducked down into an uppercut. Unfortunate, he paid the ultimate price. Oh well. I feel like he can bounce back with a big win against Chris Weidman. I'm looking forward to it. But for Chris Weidman, I get the risk. Because listen, Weidman has a win over Kelvin Gastelum. If Weidman comes back and fights some Joe Blow outside the rankings or even lower down the rankings, he's going to get placed lower down the rankings. Hermansson is ranked above Kelvin Gastelum. If Weidman can come in and beat Jack Hermansson, he will slide right above Gastelum at number 6 and drop everyone else down. Weidman at number 6. Now all of a sudden we're talking about Weidman versus Till. We're talking about Weidman versus Whitaker. Weidman versus Cannonier. Weidman versus Romero rematch. Weidman versus Paulo Costa in the future. All of a sudden, if Weidman wins, it's the ultimate payoff. I don't think it's going to pay off though. Hermansson's going to win, and Hermansson's going to be looking at some big names in that division. Very good signing of a fight by Hermansson. Not the best main event in the world, but with a strong card behind it, I reckon it can be something special. UFC Oklahoma. Nothing too major yet on the card. We've got Claudia Gadelha versus Marina Rodriguez. That's a fun fight, I guess. Very cool. Sarah Alpar versus Vanessa Melo. I'm thinking guys like Robbie Lawler can be on this card. Maybe a Robbie Lawler versus James Krause matchup would be fun. Maybe we could have something like, let me see, Jeff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Who knows? Maybe we could have something like, as I go through the list, let's look at the featherweight division. Let's look at the featherweight. Who can we have on this card? This is a featherweight division outside of the UFC. That doesn't help me whatsoever. Let me look at these featherweights. Here we go. Surely there's some great fights. Shane Burgos, Ryan Hall. Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett. All of these fights and above. Amazing fights. Dan Ige versus Sadiq Youssef. Great times. Let's make the fights happen. Ricardo Lamas versus Masad Bektik rematch because it was a split decision the first time. Andre Philly versus Darren Elkins. Who knows? Okay, that was a bit too much shouting. I think I'm going to go. But good fight. I think Hermansson's going to beat him in third round TKO. No, I think he'll do him in the first round TKO for Jack Hermansson. Even though he doesn't hit. What's going on with my mouth right now? Something weird's happening. I think I'm literally breaking down from doing videos. Jack Hermansson's going to do him up in the first. I don't know why. I just feel like he's going to come out aggressive and tag up Weidman. There's no changing it. It's the chin. It's the human chin. It's an enigma of the fight game, but sometimes it's just gone. And I feel like it's gone with Weidman. I feel like Hermansson, if he doesn't finish him early, he's going to finish him later on in the fight. So, yeah, I feel like Hermansson wins this one. If Weidman loses, come on, man, hang up the gloves. We don't need to see this shit anymore. But great fights overall. Good cards. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye.